It's 2025 and racism still exists. This is my story. Hi, my name's Jordan. I'm 26. And I want to tell you something that still hurts to say out loud. It's the year 2025. We're living in the future. We've got driverless cars, AI assistants, people launching businesses from their phones. But we haven't outrun the past because racism, it never really left. It just got smarter, quieter, better at hiding in plain sight. I grew up believing in fairness. My parents taught me to work hard, stay humble, and treat everyone with respect. And I did. I got straight A's. I applied for internships while others were partying. I stayed late in labs, skipped weekends, and graduated with honors. I thought the world was finally ready to judge people by their talent, not their tone. I was wrong. It started the moment I walked into the lobby of that tech company. I had an interview. I was confident, prepared, dressed sharp, but the receptionist barely looked up when I said my name. Her smile dropped. She told me to take a seat. Then I waited. 30 minutes, then 40. I watched 3 other candidates who came in after me get called ahead. They were all white. They all smiled at me like I was lost, like I didn't belong there. When they finally called me in, the hiring manager glanced at my resume once, then pushed it aside. He didn't ask about my app that got over 100,000 downloads. He didn't mention my honors thesis. He just leaned back in his chair and said, "We're looking for a certain kind of energy here. Someone who fits with the culture." That word. Culture. I've heard it before. It's what people say when they don't want to say the real thing. 2 weeks later, I found out they hired someone with half the experience. No portfolio, no leadership record, but a name that sounded different and a skin that didn't match mine. That night, I sat in my apartment and stared at my reflection. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was tired. Tired of pretending it was all in my head. Tired of telling myself to push harder, smile more, prove myself again and again to people who already decided I didn't belong. I remembered something my grandmother once told me. She was a quiet woman, but she didn't need to shout to be heard. She said, "Racism doesn't always show its teeth. Sometimes it's a closed door. Sometimes it's a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. But it's still there, and you better learn to recognize it." That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to stay silent. I filed a complaint. I posted my story. I shared the facts, the timeline, the receipts. And you know what happened? I thought I'd be ignored. But instead, my inbox flooded. Hundreds of people, different states, different jobs, same story. They'd been passed over, talked down to, shut out. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they didn't look the way success is supposed to look. Some said, "Thank you for saying what I never could." Others said, "I thought it was just me." It wasn't. See, the thing about racism in 2025 is it doesn't wear a hood. It wears a suit. It sits across from you in a boardroom and smiles while shutting the door behind you. It posts diversity statements online while filtering out your resume because of your name. It says, "We're a family here," but treats you like a guest in your own space. But here's the part they didn't expect. They thought I'd walk away. Instead, I walked in somewhere better. A startup where my voice mattered. Where my work wasn't impressive for someone like me. It was just impressive. Now I mentor students who remind me of myself. I teach them how to code, but more than that, I teach them how to stay standing. Because it's not just about getting a job. It's about reclaiming the space they told us we didn't belong in. Let me be clear. I'm not angry at one company. I'm not bitter over one interview. I'm exhausted from a system that still asks us to smile through silence, to work twice as hard for half the credit, to carry history on our shoulders while others get carried forward. But here's what gives me hope. We're not invisible anymore. We're organized. We're loud, and we're not begging for a seat at the table. We're building our own. If you've ever been told to tone it down, if you've ever been told you're not a good fit, if you've ever walked into a room and felt small, know this. You're not too much. They're just not enough. It's 2025. And yes, racism still exists. But so do we, and we're not going anywhere.